Our next talk is by Alex Kanelakos, who will be speaking to us about incorporating historic lessons learned into an EVA execution model for Artemis.
All right, well, good morning, good afternoon, depending where you are. My name is Alex Kanelakos. I'm the Chief Engineer for EVA Operations here at the Johnson Space Center. And it's just a pleasure to be speaking with you today. And I really liked Jim and Jack and Ben's talks. I think that this presentation will hopefully appease you guys on the progress that we're making in integration with the science team and our plans for Artemis EVAs. And again, just so excited to be interfacing with you all today. And thank you, Jackie. I think it's a great intro for this topic. Go ahead. All right, so the goals are really to depict the role of our XEVA operations team, X standing for exploration. And we're going to introduce some important EVA lessons learned from previous manned space programs focusing on our Apollo lessons learned. And I believe it was Jim's slide. You'll see almost the exact same list. And then we'll explain a few initiatives the XEVA team is tackling in preparation for our Artemis EVAs. Next slide, please. All right, the role of an EVA flight operations, we have three main roles, right? It's to plan, train, and fly EVAs and make sure that our crew members are safe and execute the mission. So in planning, we build and evaluate execution and training operation concepts, including contingencies. We influence and evaluate hardware and mission designs. That's a big one to make sure that the operations is inserted into hardware designs. We also develop operation products, and this is anything from ground rules to integrated operation scenarios and flight objectives and requirements. On the train side, you guys know a lot about that from a crew training perspective, but we also train our flight controllers, the MER, our scientists, mission management teams, and that really helps make sure the whole team is integrated into the objectives of the mission. And lastly, we execute, we fly. In this, we're design and implement and execution systems architecture. We're developing all the procedures, all the timelines, all the flight rules, and then we also do real-time troubleshooting whenever the time arises. Next slide, please. So I wanted to give you guys just a really high-level schedule of what we have for XEVA. This kind of shows you our Artemis 3 and Artemis 4 training plans, our flight controller certification plan, which would include a science backroom and the simulations that we would lead up to the mission. It also includes things like lesson plan development. And as you can see, we're already doing lesson plan development. We're already working on some of our facilities and preparation. We just actually have a neutral buoyancy laboratory run today that's focused on surface operations. So we're doing active testing, and it's been really great to integrate the science team into that. Next, please. This also is a really good chart to show you kind of what is the scope of the EVA team, including science, in the Artemis mission. You can see from at the very beginning of number one, pre-stage testing and training, we're obviously highly involved. Looking at estimates, we're going to be a good 25, 30, 40% of the training is going to be the EVA science-based training. Also, XEVA suit assembly and checkout in lunar orbit will be a big portion. And then we have everything on the surface, and this includes things like, preparing for the EVAs, doing our pre-brief, getting out the door, having dust mitigation strategies. I loved how Jim was talking about the emphasis of debriefs and preps before and after each EVA. Those are included. And then we'll have maintenance as well. And then at the very end of the flight, we want to evaluate everything from whether it's our samples to the timelines and get the good debriefs, and also evaluating any of the hardware lessons learned that we took place. And as Jackie showed, we do a good job of trying to learn from our previous examples. XEVA scope includes not just our Artemis type of vehicles like Gateway and HLS, but it also includes ISS, because we're flying the suit to ISS, the spacesuit, before we do it on the lunar surface, and that's really exciting as well. And we hope to include things everywhere from the rovers and the habitats and payloads, and all that is under the EVA umbrella. Next. I'd just like this slide real quick to show you kind of points of contact and how currently NASA is handling our XEVA system. You can see we have the facilities are involved, and also the crew offices highly involved. My team has 5 leads stretched across whether it's the spacesuit to our testing team to our HLS. We have an architecture team and a training team. And we have scientists on our team currently as well. We actually have 3 scientists. One's internal to our group and 2 are external to our group in the Ares group. Next, please. So XEV operations team interfaces, this just a chart to show all the people that we interface. So on the left there is the science team, science obviously with the Ares at NASA and the NASA Chief Science and our payload community, but also the much broader community that many of you are in today, from USGS and academia. We're really excited to start interfacing with you, and we already have is sending you some of our early engineering missions and the ASCAN type of analogs that we have done so far. The crew office and facilities and the flight director office is also key. We're also working with a lot of vehicles, you can see from landers to gateway and rovers that are starting up and starting to plan for analogs. We've already done some virtual reality sims with them, and then eventually habitats for our sustaining flights. And lastly, on the right kind of shows some other EDA groups that are involved in this whole mission. That includes the project office, our engineering teams that are working on the science tools, on the spacesuit, our safety colleagues, and then our human health and performance colleagues. Next slide, please. All right, so lessons learned from Apollo, and again, this is very similar to Jim's chart here. Obviously, hardware integration, early testing, flight hardware fit check are very important. We've been doing that already with the hardware development. Our science teams are invested into those tool designs, the spacesuit designs. Trevor is one of our scientists, and he's in the spacesuit very soon to do some more analog testing. Scientific and operation objectives and priorities are very important to be integrated. We're doing that at multiple levels, from the very specific level to the high headquarters type of science mission objectives, and roping in people like Jake and Renee and making sure that they're reaching out to the external science community as well to make sure our priorities are good and focused. And then lastly, the other green one that's currently happening is mission, equipment, and facilities. Being designed to fit around the task and not the other way around. So that's really important as well. The other blue ones that I have listed are things that are in the plans, and I'm going to discuss in the future, or on the next set of charts here. Next, please. All right, so like I said, we've already really integrated a science team into our operations team. That's very paramount to lessons learned in Apollo, that the more you can integrate the teams together and help each other understand the priorities and the objectives, the better your execution is going to be. We've been assessing science needs within our hardware requirements and capabilities, and we've been doing a lot of analog testing, whether it's at the NBL, the Rock Yard, our Argo system. We have some vacuum chamber runs that are coming up. We have simulant labs that we built, and we were also doing field tests as well. And then we're ensuring the science team is a board member at numerous, whether it's hardware decision-making boards here and panels here at NASA. Next. So inside our operations team, the team that I lead, we have 2 key systems that we've been using, or groups, needs, what you call it. So the XEV systems team, which is basically devoted to the spacesuit and the airlock systems. Then you have your task team that's devoted to suit mobility and all the tasks that you would do during that spacewalk. And now we're adding a third branch, which is our EVA science team. This would be on site characterization and selection, sampling characterization, sampling curation, also working with the instruments and the payloads that we hope to deploy and set up on the lunar surface. Next, please. So our team has been very involved in some analogs already. I know Kelsey's going to go more depth of what our structured analog system is looking like, but you can see some of our just some pictures of already some of the testing that we've been doing. And it's great we're taking lessons learned through Apollo and implementing them into hardware designs as well as our mission concepts. And not just like the procedures, but also our flight control team, which I believe we'll talk about in just a little bit. Next, please. Integration science team into the developing the baseline of the EVA training plan has also been a big goal of ours. We've already baseline from an EVA perspective what the training plan will look like. We've taken lessons learned from Apollo, made sure that we have adequate number of field training sites and science training courses. We're looking for those speakers from across the academia and USGS areas to help with the training. And it's something that we hope to start very soon once we're given the green flag from headquarters. Next. I mentioned a little bit about the flight operations team. Jackie talked a lot about it today, but really we're planning the build out of the science backroom right now. So my colleagues in the facilities divisions are already looking for what are the requirements, and hopefully out of this workshop we'll get some of those requirements. What are the requirements for that backroom? How many people? What are the comm requirements? What is the data requirements? And so that is all being worked right now. You can see on this little graph here in our team, those three branches, the EVA systems, the EVA task, and the EVA science officer, or I think that Ben called it the exploration science officer, but all being part of our EVA team and integrated team, so you can weigh the priorities with the consumables and the other tasks that are involved in the EVA, and then make a good recommendation towards your flight director and get that information to the crew member. Like Jackie said, a lot of the crew, the next step, but they are our eyes and ears, and they have the best essay of any crew, of anyone on the team. And so that's why we put a lot of emphasis on autonomy, and even more emphasis, obviously, as we go to the lunar surface. Another aspect that we're doing is we're developing a new software fleet called the EVA Mission Software System, and its goal is to integrate not only comm and video and audio comm, but also things like navigation, the procedure step, anomaly reports. We're working on something similar to a Google Maps type of way to make sure that we can contextually document and understand our samples, our science that we're working on the surface. And so that's really exciting for us to not only that we get to try it out first on ISS, but then we can implement it on the lunar surface, making sure that our scientists are getting contextual data and that information being delivered to the science backroom in MCC. And I know that we've talked about MCC from a flight controller standpoint. MCC is actually the building, and the front room we call the FICR, the flight control room, is actually the room where the flight director sits at. But the whole building, Building 30, we call MCC. So it's just a little clarification there on that. All right, next, please. And I just seen one of the questions. So we are looking at Capcom versus SciComm and all that type of thing. It's something that we plan to test. It really is going to depend on the mission, right? So it really depends on, are you going out for a 4-hour EVA? Are you going out for an 8-hour EVA? What do the objectives look like? So it's things that we're going to test, we're going to be flexible with. A lot of times the EVA officer or the science, the ESO, those words go directly up to the members from the Capcom. We believe the importance is that it's an integrated story and not an that's definitely lessons learned from Apollo. This is just a little quick on some of the deliverables that we would expect from science implementation. I know that's not the focus, but I thought it was really fun to show you, hey, here's some deliverables, and we're working on a presentation to give those people that are working on instrumentation and payloads support some of these activities, whether they're the data that we need from hazard analyses and drawings, training hardware, crew equipment interface tests where the crew gets hands-on flight hardware, and then obviously the science rooms for real time. And last slide, please, last one. And this is just a really fun slide to kind of show you, hey, we're looking at all of our lunar surface EVAs. We've heard anywhere from 4 hours to 8-hour EVAs on the surface. anywhere from 1 EVA to 5 EVAs on that first mission. And we're developing notional timelines. We're testing them out at various analogs. And you can see that the cruise day is incredibly busy. But we put in things like turnaround time, conferences, tool prep for the next EVA, study time for the next EVA. And you can see a lot of the EVA time is not just devoted to some of these green areas of science instrumentation, but we also have to do things like ingress and egress and dust removal cleanup. So it's more than just science during the actual EVA time. And that's why we hope longer EVAs will provide us with a little more flexecution. All right, thank you guys.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex, for that really interesting and exciting view of the work being done right now to prepare for Artemis. Our next talk